Hello everybody and welcome to the first episode of Algawa. This is going to be my long-awaited, well not necessarily waited for you guys, but I've awaited doing this for a long time, City Skylines series. It's going to mark my return to the City Skylines YouTubing scene, and hopefully this time I'll be able to do this pretty consistently, as I always have wanted to. So this city is going to, by the way, I should mention, the reason I'm not going to be slowing down to talk in-game this episode is because I was stupid and completely forgot to set up Bandicam to actually record my mic while recording. I don't know why. I thought I did, but I guess not, because I went to look this over while editing it, and it's like, that's weird. It doesn't pick me up talking. Well, guess I know what I have to do now. And at times this video also, there's a few little black, flashes. I don't know why. I don't know. It was weird during playing the game, but it's a thing that happens. Just get used to it. They're not terrible. I'll get them fixed eventually, I'm sure. So right now I'm just kind of building the, first on-off ramp to go into and out of downtown on this main road here. It is not the main road, but it is a main road. This episode is just going to be mainly me kind of getting the groundwork for, the whole series, starting with the downtown and stuff. So I build a road network and kind of put down some skyscrapers, which I actually alter the skyscrapers a little bit off camera after this episode, but obviously you don't see that because it's off camera. If I'm rushing through topics, there's a reason, because I actually just tried to record this before, but I wasn't paying attention to how much time I had left in the recording, and I ended up talking for longer than the recording is going, which if you compare that, if any of you watch my old series, my first one, Canvas Mountains, you'll know it was the complete opposite story for the first episode of that, because I was just like, I'm not even going to put the effort in to talk for all that time, and I just didn't. This one I wasn't going to be talking the whole time, but I kinda have to now, because, that's the way things worked out with the recording software being the way it was, or my stupidity being the way it was, rather. Whichever is at fault, I don't know. But yeah, I finally got this new computer, and it is, a massive improvement from my old one. My old one had integrated Intel graphics and 4 gigs of RAM and an i3. This has an 8th generation i7, which is only a few months old, a GTX 1060, which is pretty decent, and a 16 gigs of RAM. Did I say a 16 gigs of RAM? What the heck did I mean? But yeah, no, it has 16 gigs of RAM, and that is definitely enough to, run cities comfortably and record it with a fair bit of mods and assets. Which means it's perfect, and it's the opportunity I've been waiting for years. So I jumped on that right away, and one of the first things I did when I got this new computer a few weeks ago is I actually went and installed Cities, because I was beyond just, ecstatic to get my hands on this game that I could finally run it smoothly. And it was... I loaded it up for the first time, ran it without mods just to see how quick it was. My loading time used to be, on the old computer, upwards of 40 minutes at minimum. And that's sometimes even without having mods and assets and stuff. The loading time on this computer, without mods and assets and City Skylines, just plain vanilla, upon startup, was 20 seconds. That is a massive improvement. So obviously I was pretty shocked to figure that out, and obviously with all the mods and assets I ended up getting, it did slow that down considerably, but not to an unbearable point. It was still only a couple minutes. It was not long at all. It was really quick, and that is just such a relief, and it was so foreign to me, to be honest, because I'd never had anything like that. So the main interchange here, which you might be seeing in the background, I didn't go and detail right away. I'm going to do that off camera later, but first I just wanted to get kind of the downtown, to start the series. That's how we're going to do things. This city, like I said, I think I said already, it is meant to be an upper Midwest kind of inspired city. So when you think, Duluth or Milwaukee, kind of like that. Because that's actually, the area I'm from. I'm from Wisconsin, so I know an area like this fairly well growing up in a place like this. I didn't actually grow up in like a big city like Milwaukee or anything, but you know, I know the area, okay? So I just wanted to do this, considering how, I don't know, it's something I'd been planning to do for a year, was actually something closer to home. So originally I was going to do something just strictly northwest Wisconsin. I was going to call it like Chequamegon or something. But then I was like, you know what, no, I'm not going to call it that, so I'll call it Menominee. And I did that all the way until starting this recording, and then I was like, you know what, no, I'm going to call it Algawa. Their name has nothing really to do with the series itself, but I don't know where I was going with that, but originally it was just going to be a bunch of, you know, smaller little towns and one medium-sized city. But then I was like, you know what, no, we are going to make a big city, because I'm gonna go big with this one, seeing how it's, you know, my first time back, and that's what I'm doing. We're getting a good sized city here. Now the cities in like the upper Midwest, they're not massive. Obviously you have Chicago, which is big, but this is not that part of the upper Midwest. Milwaukee is like, I think 600,000. Minneapolis, St. Paul, kind of same deal, a few hundred thousands. So they're big enough, and they have skyscrapers, but they're not like millions. So that's actually a kind of realistic scale almost. I don't even know where that tangent just went. Wow. But yeah, so right here, I try to make it so that like the road kind of almost adapts to how the freeway was built. Because if I think I remember a few years ago, I actually looked at an article online, or maybe it was a video, on how when freeways were built, through the cores of a lot of through downtown cores of a lot of cities, what it did was it actually got rid of a lot of buildings and roads just for the sake of, you know, the infrastructure, which, I mean, that's understandable. I consider it maybe a necessary evil. But so then here, a few of the roads would have been had to cut in order to adapt to that highway that obviously was not there. For example, that one little triangular block in the background was probably a full square until the big like ramp got put there. What I'm going to do with that eventually, by the way, that triangular thing, is I'm going to turn it into just kind of all like a little park area. So I'll talk more about the inspiration here for a little bit. One of the cities I mentioned this is going to be inspired by is Duluth, and that comes in for probably the geography most of all of the city. So if you were to go on Google Maps and take a look at, you know, the Duluth area, which is in northeastern Minnesota, it's right along a river, and on the other side of that river is Wisconsin, specifically Superior, Wisconsin. Now, Superior, despite its name, is actually inferior. It's a lot more flat, it has less people, it's smaller, you know, stuff like that, more farm stuff, because, you know, Wisconsin, I can say that, I'm from Wisconsin, I can make the judgment on that. But Duluth is actually pretty big. The actual Duluth has maybe about, I believe it's close to 90,000 people within the immediate city itself. Now there's some suburbs too, but the geography of Duluth, what I was originally talking about here, is just when you get past the downtown, like literally just after it, and even as part of the downtown, you come to these actually really steep hills that go up pretty quickly. Now these are a lot farther set back in this city, and they're not nearly as drastic, but I did include them as kind of a nod to that whole thing. And I don't know if I'm going to end up doing anything with them or not, because Prez said no using the 81 tiles mod, and those are outside of the 25 tile limit. So we'll see. If I end up using all 25 tiles and I'm bored of the series, then I'll just not. But if I'm not bored of it, then I'll get the 81 tiles mod, and we'll see what happens with that, but that is not of concern right now. One of the things I'm building on camera currently is this weird looking highway ramp. And I was gonna say, oh wow, I like this, it's weird, but I like it, like on camera. But upon reviewing it now, I'm like, yeah, no, I don't like it. So one of the things I actually did off camera is I deleted this little ramp and made one that looks at least fairly better, because this is just, it's a real oddball. Like, look at this. What the heck was I on? I don't know. Yeah, and then, you know, like, the other side is Superior, the other side of the river, and that's a lot flatter, so there's going to be, like, maybe a smaller city there if I do get to build over there. Well, I mean, I will, but there's going to be a smaller city there, maybe not even really any tall buildings. And that's just, you know, I'm trying to keep true to the area. There was something else I was going to talk about. Oh, yeah. Wait, oh, no. What was I going to talk about? Why is this always an issue? Where I'm talking about something and then I forget what I'm going to talk about. So right now here, actually, I'll just talk about what's going on screen. I'm about to start placing down some skyscrapers. And at first, it looks like, oh, you know, it's nothing great. I don't know if that's the right way to describe it. But a lot of these skyscrapers are just kind of generic, you know, kind of... A lot of the skyscrapers on the workshop are just kind of generic, like squares, almost rectangles. So I had to look, actually, for a good bit of time in order to find some that were not. And because this is an older kind of city, I wanted to also find some older skyscrapers that also had a kind of unique look to them and fit in well. I don't know if you heard that Discord notification. If you did, I'm sorry. I should have gone on Do Not Disturb. I'll do that next time. But I did find some. Not a lot, but I did find some. And the unintended consequence of this was a lot of those buildings are also immediately in downtown New Windsor, which is Prez series. And that was something I was trying to avoid directly, but it ended up being more or less unavoidable, and I'm not too upset about it. I just hope, like, I don't get called out by everyone watching this saying, oh, you copied Prez with your downtown, because no, I'm not trying to copy Prez. A lot of these buildings I'm putting down, like this one right here, I don't think he actually has in his city. And even so, it's not like it's the same universe. I'm just doing what I can here, okay? I'm trying my best. One of the buildings, this building right here, I don't put it down yet, but this really tall one, I think it's called One Chase Manhattan Plaza, I might remove from the city later. Just because I'm not quite sure I like the height of it. It seems almost a little too tall, and I don't know. I'm going to do some alteration to the skyline at some point. I believe it's almost inevitable. But I don't know how I'm going to alter it or when I'm going to alter it. I just believe that's a thing that will eventually happen. Now, I don't have so many skyscrapers that, you know, there is no transition from the immediate... I don't have so many skyscrapers that the transition from downtown to the lower parts of the city are just seamless, but I don't have exactly... I'm going to turn myself into a disturb on Discord, but I don't have exactly enough to make it super smooth. So there's a little bit of awkwardness there, and maybe if I did cut down on the size of downtown, that problem would be fixed, and I'm realizing I am running out of time again, but I'm just doing what I can. I was going to talk more about the kind of how this series is inspired by Milwaukee, but I'll get into that in perhaps the next episode. Off camera here, I do end up going and actually kind of adding some details to parking lot roads, which I haven't put down yet. But I didn't put I didn't make sure there's parking lots for every single downtown skyscraper, because if I did that, there would be just way too much parking, and it would just feel like, I don't know. I didn't like that whole kind of concept of it. And I do actually end up, I do put down parking lots, but I don't go excessive with it. I put down a good bit, and I detail them off camera, and that's really all there is to that. This hotel right here, one of the things I was going to bring up earlier, but I forgot to, I will actually maybe mention that next episode. I think, what can I occupy the last about, I don't know, minute of this with? I'll just say thanks and stuff, because it takes me a long time to do that. So I'm just gonna... I wish I could talk about more, but I didn't know how long this episode was gonna end up being after I sped it up and stuff. So this is what you're getting. Thank you guys who are still subscribed to me. Thank you for sticking with me through that. incredibly long period of time where I was just unable to make a video because my computer was not good. We've finally reached the end of that period, and we've come to a time where I am able to comfortably and quickly make videos, and it's going to be, I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure these videos can be as good as I can. Now this one, it's not necessarily what I'd consider the best, because I'm just getting started. I was just making sure I could get this to work, but from here on out, I'm going to hopefully consistently improve the quality. And with that, if you guys did enjoy this video, please leave a like, leave a comment. I would very much appreciate comments just to let me know you're here and you're watching. It would mean so much. Maybe subscribe to me, you know, check out my YouTube, check out my Twitter and stuff. And other than that, enjoy these cinematics. You